guys, this game was absolutely spectacular. In the second half, I think we can say. In the first half, both teams are figuring out their way. What, in your mind, opened the game and allowed the entertainment to flow?
I think the way that the second half started, it was just a bit more direct. We discussed it at half-time about what both teams could do different in the second half to really open it up. A Netherlands side ever so well, a lot more direct in the second half, picking up those second balls, quicker on the ball, like Marcelo said, getting across into the box. And his favourite man, Virgil van Dijk, would open up with a goal, simple header, very high-quality header from one of the world's best defenders. And then from that, you'd have to think that the game had to open up after that. Japan had to be a bit more adventurous, had to press to try and get themselves back into the game. But like you said, great game of football by both nations.
Look at the smiles we both got.
Let's tell the audience why. So prior to the game, we had to do a parlay for the match result and for a goal scorer or assister in the game. And we both nailed ours. We both called the draw. I called a Crysencio Summerville goal or assist, and you went for Virgil van Dijk goal or assist. We will get to that later on in the show and show where we are in the table here at Golazo Matchday. But in terms of the game, what did you like about how Japan responded twice? They trailed twice in the game. They got a goal from a set piece, where I thought was a surprise. It looked like, because of the height that the Netherlands had in the team, there's going to be no way that Japan was going to get something from a set piece, but they did.
Yeah, let me start off with Netherlands started off fantastic. They pushed out, they attacked, they were aggressive, everything you want. They get the lead, and then you got to give it credit. I mean, and it's weird to me, and I don't get it. When you score a goal in the World Cup, the first thing you do is you change your tactics a little bit, and they dropped off. They let Japan come a little bit more. They get scored on. They score again. So listen, defensively, not great, especially when Van Dijk gets beat in the air off a corner kick. There's not one player on the Japanese side who is anywhere near his height. So I think lack of concentration at times from the Dutch. So at the end of the day, listen, great result for Japan. I think it's a great result for Holland too, but it just not... And maybe in order to keep progressing, you've got to play and build and move your lane. So I'll say both of these didn't have a great game. It was a good game, but they both didn't play great. But they got the result they needed to move on to the next game.
I think both teams will be happy with the result. You know, when you look at the group overall, I think that there will be that belief or that arrogance that Japan and Netherlands are the best two in this group, which I feel is a risky observation to have. So overall, how this game played out, you could say a draw would be fair enough result. They'll feel confident they can get results against the other two teams in this group. But I would say for me, for the Netherlands, you'd be a bit worried because there's always that expectation. There's always that weight when you wear the shirt, how far they can go and how they manage this game to go 1-0 up, 2-1 up and not be able to see out the game. That is a bit of a worry and a concern.
When they put the foot on the gas, they were good.
And for me, I give credit to Japan, though.
Yeah.
Because for me, I wouldn't say I've seen anything different from Japan. Japan has always had that mentality of, regardless how the game is going, they play to win. They're going to continue to press, they're going to continue to play forward, and they're going to try and win this game of football match. That is something that's become the identity and the mentality of the Japanese national side. So for me, nothing new that I learned from there. But like you said, Marcelo, the negativity from the Netherlands' point of view is, you go 1-0 up and you do sit back. You do become hesitant a bit, which for me isn't the right mentality and the mindset. From going 1-0 up, you need to get that second. You need to build on that confidence and that momentum and try and get another goal. But quality to Japan for coming back into it.
And this was a really good game in terms of the quality of goal as well. We saw that opener, the header from Van Dijk is from a very difficult angle, comes in off the post. The opening strike for the first Japan goal from Keito Nakamura, who I thought had a very good game coming off that left side. It's kind of those moments where it seems like it's gone. He finds it in the bottom corner, well placed to get Japan the goal. Then Summerville also with a kiss off the inside of the post, and then that header at the end. Which was the best of the lot for you guys?
I'm going to go with the defender just because it's off a header, and I love the view. He ducks down and he's watching it go in. It's always tough. You don't get that many opportunities as center back. So when you get up there, I mean, don't get me wrong, Summerville's fantastic, but when you're a center back and you get up there, you want to be able to help your team, not just always defend. So the fact that he was able to help his team out, give him that initial lead, and help me with my bet, I think it was fantastic.
I'm going to go with Summerville's finish. I think it was an absolute brilliant finish. And the reason I'll go with him is he's had a great season for West Ham. And now you're talking about international level now, doing it in the World Cup. That, for me, was just a world-class finish. He comes inside, off his left foot, bends into that far corner. And what it goes to show as well, his celebration with the Dutch legend in Van Nistelrooy, just lets you know. You're talking about one great legends we've seen and talked about. He goes and celebrate, top class, passing it on to the next generation, helping this young generation understand about the finishing qualities, the attributes you need. And it's great to see that finish there, doing it at the highest level, not just domestically for his club, West Ham United.
Yeah, and for the Netherlands, I guess one of the things you sort of try and look at is this is sort of a very high-quality matchup between two teams that we expect to make a reasonable run at this tournament. As you mentioned, they would probably think that they can do okay against the other two teams in the group, Sweden and Tunisia. What did you see in terms of, this is about, let's say, a preview of what it will look like for them in the last 16 or even a quarterfinal for the Netherlands or for Japan. What did you see from them in terms of the level that they can hit? Is it good enough in your mind to make a deeper run in the tournament? For both teams, really.
I think for me, Japan, yes. I still believe that Japan have that ability and the mindset, the attitude, how they run, the energy that they show. I think the only thing I would say about Japan for me is I do want them to be a bit more brave. I do want them to have that bit more confidence and belief in themselves from the start, that they can go in there. I think sometimes they kind of play within themselves and wait to maybe go a goal down to start really showing what they're capable of. They have it, the technical ability, the organisation off the ball, the willingness to run, the interchange of play, but it needs to be a bit more arrogant, I believe, from the Japanese perspective. From the Netherlands perspective, again, I think it's the fact of taking the lead in this game and not being able to see out games. That's what they need to do, not conceding poor goals. We talk about the back four, how when you look at the names on paper, could be one of the best back fours in this World Cup. But again, in the goals that they conceded today, that is not good enough. It needs to be better for me defensively.
Yeah, for me, when I look at this, I'm like, okay, this is what they've done the last 6 games and they haven't lost. Japan. So why am I going to change? I think they're more comfortable almost playing from behind because they kept on coming back, but you can't do that against, let's just be honest, a Spain or Brazil. So everything I like about them is the fact that they're disciplined, their mentality. If things go wrong, they don't panic. I think when you see a lot of teams go down with nothing, they panic, they get disorganized. That didn't happen in Japan today. Japan was very organized. They were very, very well in sync. They knew what they were doing. They just stuck to the game plan. On the other side, Netherlands, too slow. You know, I mean, the second half was better, but if you're going to play a first half like that against a good team, a Belgium or a Germany, it's going to make it much tougher to get back in. So if they come out the way they did the second half, and get 80 minutes out of that group or 70 minutes out of that group, then they have a chance.
Yeah, it was a really high level, I thought, after halftime. I will say, and this is sort of one of those things that we're going to keep tracking the progress of over the course of the tournament. We did eventually see the Japan equalizer, but I thought the game had incredible flow in the first 20 to 22 minutes of the second half, and then the hydration break happens. It's completely needless in a stadium that has a roof over it, and I know that this is something that we're going to have to get used to because it's going to happen in 104 games this World Cup, but I have to be honest, it's ridiculous when it happens. It's ridiculous when we're in a dome and it's a perfect climate-controlled environment, and we're stopping the game, a brilliant game of football, and that was the first time that I really felt that it got in the way of a really good match. That normally you expect it's just going to keep going and that energy level, and it dipped really for the first 15 minutes coming out of the break, and then Japan gets the equalizer to get it back going again. But it just feels wrong. It feels wrong for a game to be interrupted like that.
From an ex-player's perspective, I think Marcelo and I are on the same agreement of this. When you talk about players being on the pitch, and we talk about football, we always talk about football intelligence and feeling the game, momentums. In this aspect here, you're 100% right. Because when your team and you feel the momentum and you know your opponents are really starting to struggle and you could feel it as a player, you're going to score, they're going to crack soon. And then all of a sudden to have a break where they can regroup, recatch their composure, regain some kind of composure and organisation, you can never just get that momentum back again in favour of you. Yeah. So I think I'm in agreement where I'm not a fan of these water breaks. Let's be real. It's not for the welfare of the players. It's nothing to do with the welfare of the players. It's about advertising and making money. And it's sad because it does take away from how a game flows. We've seen teams use it for tactical advantages. Yesterday, Australia, to get their first goal. I think that the game needs to flow and be like football for 45 minutes, because if it was for the welfare of the players, there'll be other things being done as well, not just these water breaks. So for me, I completely agree with you. I don't like these water breaks because they kill the momentum of the football matches that we're seeing. And just from an ex-player's perspective, we know what it's like when you're in that mode, when you're fighting for your life and trying not to concede a goal, or when you've got a team under so much pressure that you know you're going to get a goal and a water break happens.
I'm a purist. Okay. As a kid, you played 30 minutes, you played a rhythm. You had some sort of, you're in sync. When you get to a point where you don't need a hydration break, why are we breaking up the game into 4 quarters? That's where I have a hard time. I grew up playing this game, and I'm not aging myself because even to last World Cup, we didn't have hydration breaks. So this game's about rhythm. It's about having to find a way to get through 45 minutes. It's finding a way to figure the tactics out on the field, not always with the coach. As a team and as a player, you're trying to adjust, you're trying to move. So now we cut it. We give you 22 minutes. We'll give you 3 minutes. Go get some water. We saw the other day Pochettino, the computer, pointing to people. We saw last night Australia, telling the player, do this, do this. There came a goal. Great. But that's not what we're here for. We talk about purists. We talk about rhythm of our game. We're taking away the purity of what we love to watch for 45 minutes, and that's why I have a hard time. As an ex-athlete, it's very frustrating to see a game stop, and now everybody's relaxing, everybody's getting a drink of water, and it's like, it's hard to restart after 3 minutes. It's like running a marathon. You're done. You're not going to go run again because you're done. At that point, it's going to take you, what do we see today, 5-10 minutes to get back into it. By that time, you're almost at halftime.
So the perfect example as well is half-time. When you have a half-time, you always see teams generally will concede in that first 10, 15-minute block of half-time because, again, the momentum's lost, you rest.
You know what comes next? A 10-minute halftime now instead of a 15-minute halftime.
Well,
but I'm saying, but that's what we're pushing towards. Yeah. Listen, the game's, through history, has been 45 minutes. Let's keep it that way.
Yeah, and you guys are speaking from sort of a ex-player perspective. Yeah. I'll speak from a fan perspective because watching that game, that's sort of the moment when you reach the edge of your seat, when you reach, okay, here we go, it's kicked off. Finally, we got through a 45 minutes that was a bit dreary, if I'm being honest. Japan didn't have a shot on target in the first half. Finally, the game has opened up. We've gotten into a good place, and now there's a commercial break. And it just feels like it takes a while, watching from a fan's point of view, for the tempo to regain. The tempo almost never really came back in the game. So it's almost impossible to recreate that sort of magic. That magic is going to get lost if it happens after halftime.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, take our word for it from a player's perspective. We know what it's like. We know what it's like to be on that pitch in that moment, knowing that one of your players has the better of a defender. You could just feel it, and all of a sudden you got to stop. It's not a switch you can just switch back on again. For everyone to be in that moment, in that euphoria, everything working in your favour.
Now, in terms of the match, getting back to the actual game, who were some of the players that stood out in your mind for either side in terms of individual performances?
I felt for me, Summerville took his goal very well. Gravenberch, I thought, had a good game. We talked about the midfield and how Gravenberch didn't have a great season when it came to domestically for Liverpool and going into a World Cup, how he would be. I thought he put in a great midfield performance today for me. From Japan's perspective, I think
collectively.
Nakamura was fantastic at wing back.
Yeah, I felt collectively as a team that they just played so well. Again, we talked about them missing the likes of Matoma, Endo
Minamino
as well, having to pull out of the squad, and people worried, they're best players or top players. I said, no, you got to look at Japan beyond the individual player. They're collectively as a team so well drilled, so well organised, and it was a team performance for them today.
Jimmy Floyd Hasselbaink, what did you think of the game?
Well, look, we always knew that it was going to be a very difficult game. Japan, very good side. The Dutch, they are not playing their best football at the moment, but they did very well for 70 minutes, really well. You know, they controlled the game. First half, they had a better of the game. They end up scoring 1-0 by a really good goal. Second phase of a corner with Van Dijk. And then you think, go on, push on. You know, Japan comes back, makes a 1-1 really quickly, what is a little bit disappointing. And then Summerville, who I really like, and it's a really great story for Summerville, great moment, and he scores a really, really good goal. And then you think again, go on, but Koeman thinks differently and makes 3 substitutions, and I think those 3 substitutions were a little bit too early, and then you're on the back foot, and then it feels a little bit, you have a mixed feeling actually at the 2-2, because it was quite close there to take all the 3 points. So I think it's an opportunity missed.
Jimmy, you're a player that knows what it's like to wear that national shirt and the pressure that comes with it. Put your manager's hat on. What is the most positive thing that you see from this Dutch national side? And what is the one thing that worries you from a manager or coach's perspective?
What I really like is the first 70 minutes. The Dutch had control. They were patient. It was really difficult to break the low block down. But they scored a really good goal with Summerville. So that was good, and they controlled also the counter-attack against. So I really like that. I didn't like when the Dutch went up front when they scored 1-0. It felt like they were afraid to keep on going, to keep that same kind of tactic going forward. You know, they played backwards, and that was quite disappointing. I also didn't like when they were 5 at the back, that still there were gaps, you know. So defensively, you have to do better as a unit. And now the next step is, can you play longer than 70 minutes in that concept that well? You know, that's going to be the next challenge.
Jimmy, totally agree with you. We felt the same way as well watching that game, that they took a negative approach after taking the lead. Another thing that was quite surprising was the fact of Marlin starting up top. And obviously you being a striker and a legend that you are, what do you think about Brommy? Don't you think that it could have been a better option to start with him with his physical aspects that he has?
I thought Marlon did really well. I actually like him. He's in form. I would have started with Marlon as well. He created an opportunity for himself in the first 5 minutes, and had a great shot. It was a great save by the goalkeeper. He looked sharp. I wouldn't have taken him off yet. I would have left him on for a little bit longer, because the moment Holland scored 2-1, Japan were getting a little bit more desperate, and that is where you were getting more space. And then he is very dangerous when he has space behind the defense. But it wasn't he wasn't allowed to have that opportunity. I liked him. I think he played well. My thing with Robbie is, he should have come in when Depay came in, because Depay didn't offer anything. He didn't offer any depth in the game, and he also didn't hold the ball. And that, in a way, that was a little bit of a big problem for the Netherlands.
Jimmy, let me ask you this really quick. Why do you think after a team scores a goal, we've seen this a lot in this World Cup, they're pushing, they're pressing, they get the goal, and all of a sudden it's like, okay, we drop off. Now we got the goal. The intensity drops. They just keep in possession. Why are we seeing that a lot in this World Cup, do you think?
It's a mental thing. It has nothing to do with ability. It is a mental kind of thing, that where you score a goal. It's proven as well, when you score a goal, then the next 5 minutes are the most important for not receiving a goal back or getting a goal back. But yes, that is just confidence and mentality. You know, I was screaming at the television, keep on going, keep on going, keep on putting pressure, because then you will kill the game off. But it is you see that a lot with teams that have got a lot of pressure on them. When they have scored that 1-0, it's a relief, and they think the job is done, and instead of defending forward, they defend backwards, and that's what the Netherlands did today, unfortunately.
Jimmy, what's the expectations of this Netherlands side from what we've seen today? What would be acceptable for their World Cup?
The Dutch won't like it, what happened today, because if they would have played 0-0, they would have said, okay, fine. But because they were winning and because they were so negative, so far from the last whistle, Koeman will get, I think, quite a bit of stick. They know that they don't have the best forward players at the moment, so they are a little bit. The expectation is quarterfinal, basically. But then still, they wouldn't like how things went today after the 2-1. But then positively, they got a draw. And everybody knew in the Netherlands that it was a difficult game today. It's mixed feelings. It's mixed feelings today, you know, because you were this close of getting the 3 points. You don't get the 3 points. It feels a little bit like lost, 2 points lost. And it will be how will they cope with that disappointment. But before this game, it was quarterfinals that they were thinking, and everything after is a big plus.
Jimmy Floyd Hasselbaink with his thoughts on the Netherlands drawing 2-2 with Japan in their opener at the World Cup. The Netherlands, by the way, still unbeaten in World Cup openers. They've never lost the opening game of the World Cup before with a 2-2 draw. Jimmy Floyd, thank you so much for the time.